Hi there, happy hump day. Welcome to your Wednesday. Decisions, decisions, decisions. That's what we're talking about today. Now, there's varying pieces of research on this, but there is some research that suggests we make up to 35,000 decisions every single day. Now, of course, many of those decisions are the almost unconscious decisions, the habits that we have, where we don't even feel like we're making a decision. Then there are other things that we do during the day which, of course, are far more deliberate. They require conscious thought and processing, and we know that we're making a decision. Have you ever wondered what type of decision-making style you are? Are you the sort of person who needs lots of facts and lots of data? Do you rely on emotion, gut instinct? So are you the sort of person who makes decisions very, very quickly? Or are you far more slow, deliberate, precise? Or perhaps you're the sort of person who hates making decisions, and in fact, you would rather avoid making a decision. What normally happens is the type of decision-making style that we use can depend on the circumstances, depends on the complexity of the issue that we're facing, and just depends on how we're feeling at the time. I'm going to outline 4 different decision-making styles. The question to ask yourself is, in most times, most situations, what type of decision maker am I? Firstly, avoided. Are you the sort of person who avoids making a decision? You delay it to the last possible moment, or perhaps you delegate it, give it away to somebody else because you really don't like making a decision. Are you impulsive? Are you the sort of person who makes a decision based on your emotional needs and how you're feeling in the moment, with little regard to those long-term consequences, the impacts it can have on you because you're thinking short-term? You're being reactive rather than being responsive. Or are you the resisted decision maker, where what you're doing is effectively taking the path of least resistance? And by that I mean you're making a decision, but when you do it, you're taking the easiest possible choice, the easiest possible path. And sometimes the easiest solution isn't the best solution. And lastly, are you far more considered? Are you the sort of person who likes to be deliberate? You need data, facts, information. You also consider emotions and how you're feeling, and you listen to your gut, you weigh up the pros and cons, talk to different people, get ideas. The style that you will select absolutely depends on circumstances, but also a range of other influencing factors that play into how you make decisions. Firstly, if you're busy. What we know is that when you're busy, when you're distracted, you can lose focus, and so your attention is dispersed. And what happens when your attention is dispersed is that you can miss important elements that need to be considered in the decision-making process. If you're really emotionally invested in the outcome, the more emotionally invested you are, the harder it can be to balance those considering factors, and you can let emotion get in the way of a good decision. The criticality of the decision, how important it is to us. Because if the decision only affects us, if it doesn't have any impact on anybody else, then perhaps we take a different decision-making approach because it just has a different level of consequence, a different level of impact. The level of time we have to make a decision will play into it. And what research shows is that if we're really busy, if we feel time pressured, that can impact our ability to make a decision that is ethical, because our pressure, the feeling that we have to get something done and get it done really, really quickly, can mean that we're going to make an easy decision or step over things that have ethical consequences. Once again, the research shows that if we don't get enough sleep, if we're sleep deprived, that is going to impact our cognitive resources. And when we're sleep deprived, we make less informed, less wise decisions. We fall into the pattern of making a decision the way we've always made it because the thinking part of our brain, our prefrontal cortex, is tired. And lastly, our access to data, our access to information, all of that is going to play into how we make a decision and what sources we've got, and therefore how comfortable we're going to feel in making that decision. What's true is when we're facing tough decisions, complex decisions, decisions where there's multiple choices and multiple outcomes and multiple ways that you could go. It can be hard. And that's when decision making takes courage. And I love the quote from Peter Drucker because he talks about whenever you see a successful business, someone once made a courageous decision. So for you, what's that decision that you're holding off on? What's the decision that perhaps you need to make a more courageous decision on? Take care, and I'll see you next week.